Namaskar, I am Mahua Chakrabarti, Associate Professor of Museology Department, University of Calcutta. During this lockdown period, the Indian Museum Calcutta took the initiative to make us aware of the World Heritage through the online program Stories of World Heritage. Please watch the program. Stay home, be safe.
Bagan is situated in Mandalay of Myanmar. It is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. From the 9th to 13th centuries, the city was the capital of the Bagan kingdom. Around 5,000 Buddhist temples, pagodas and monasteries were constructed in this area, of which the remains of some temples and pagodas survive to the present day. Among the religious buildings in Bagan, the pagodas consist mainly of two types. The first is the bell-shaped stupa of solid brickwork raised on a series of receding terraces and crowned by a finial. They are called zedi, which were erected either to enshrine some relics of the Buddha or of a Buddhist saint to commemorate some sacred spot. The second is a hollow vaulted temple mainly for enshrining the Buddha. Ananda Temple was built by Kianzita in 1091 CE. It is one of the finest and most venerated temples at Bagan. This temple symbolizes the endless wisdom Anantapanna of the Buddha, just as the Thatbhyannu symbolizes the omniscience of the Tathagata. Hence, the name Ananda is the name of Buddha's cousin. There are scenes from the Ramayana and Mahabharata displayed within the temple. The woodwork on the ceiling at the entrance of the temple is also noteworthy. The interior consists of two vaulted and high but narrow corridors running parallel to each other along the four sides of the temple. In the center is an enormous cube, on the four sides of which are deep and high niches enshrining four colossal standing Buddhas. Each of them is 31 feet high above the throne, which itself is nearly 8 feet in height. Besides, the temple is decorated with murals which are now faded in time, but still there are faint traces which shows the Jataka stories and the Buddha. Outside the temple, there is Ananda Okyaun. It was built in 1776 by a royal archivist, Uttanarajo. It is a two-story building and interior walls of the first floor has mural paintings. The outer walls of the corridor have stories from Jatakos. The walls of the middle room have Kinnaro and Kinnari figures, male and female dragons, male and female Garuda bird, and Mount Meru, surrounded by 7 oceans and 7 mountains. The Bufaya Pagoda is standing on the bank of the Irrawaddy river at Bagan, above rows of crenellated terraces. The small pagoda is a conspicuous landmark ascribed to 10th century CE. The dome resembles the form of a cylindrical relic casket. Above it stands a bold convex band upon which rises a tapering stupa finial. Tradition attributes the pagoda to King Pushawati, who ruled Bagan in the 3rd century CE. The Gaudaupalin temple has a vestibule on the east, but the upper story is reached by narrow stairs built in the thickness of the walls. Buddha images are placed against the cubicle on all sides of the ground floor. The temple attains a total height of 180 feet. It was built by Narapati Sethu to commemorate the ceremony of paying homage to the manes of his ancestors. Lubyanka Temple was built in 1113 CE by Rajakumar, son of Kianjitta, as testified by the quadrilingual inscription dedicated by him. The temple has a square basement surmounted by a shikhara with curvilinear roofs resting on terraces and a mandapa projecting on the east face. There are paintings in the sanctum, in the corridors surrounding it, and in the entrance porch. The Mahabodhi Temple was built by Nantangmya after the model of the temple of Bodh Gaya in Bihar and is the only specimen of its class in Myanmar. The basement is a quadrangular block supporting a tall pyramidal spire. The finial is a small slim stupa. The Sulamani temple was built in 1183 by King Narapati Sithu. This temple uses brick and stone with frescoes in the interior of the temple. The Bagan Archaeological Museum was opened on 17 April 1998. This first archaeology museum, in the true sense of the term, was built near the northern covered causeway of Ananda Temple in 1904. It was a small building in which some ancient stone inscriptions, Buddha images, and other cultural objects collected from the Bagan area were haphazardly displayed. After some years, as a large number of new art objects and antiquities were added, in 1976 the site to the south of Gaudapalin Pagoda was designated for Archaeological Museum compound. It was officially opened in 1979. Housed in a sprawling complex, this government-run museum features many fine pieces from Bagan. The museum has a room of modern art rendering of the temples. Original images of Buddhist deities. Inscriptions. Buddha images. Models of major temples of Myanmar. A room of 55 kinds of women's hair knots and 5 men's hairstyles. Minor art objects. Plaques, etc. The Swazigan Temple is a Buddhist religious place believed to enshrine a bone and tooth of Gautama Buddha. pagoda is in the form of a cone formed by 5 square terraces with a central solid core. Jataka legends are depicted on glazed terracotta tiles set into 3 rectangular squares. The end of the 13th century witnessed the fall of the Bagan dynasty. Thousands of pagodas were despoiled by the invaders and Vandals, and the king, who fled from the Chinese, is believed to have dismantled a considerable number of the monuments to collect materials for building forts. Since then, the great mass of the religious edifices were left to decay and ruin. Today we see no more than 100 splendid monuments which attract and retain attention.